Happy Adar. All right, I'm back today to tell you a few things, share with you a few things. I was going to talk about what I used to call the Kabbalah of the Secret. I guess I could still call it that, but I think I moved to talk about something else instead, so maybe that will be for tomorrow. So I want to start with telling you the true story, a true story that actually happened to me today. It hit me on a very, very deep level. So actually what happened was, I don't know if you're following me, you might know that I have fairly strong opinions, maybe you don't, about what's happening in the world. I realize that we're very split, that, what one person sees as the truth, the other person sees as the very opposite of the truth. And that's something I want to bring up now. But I think I had a much deeper insight around that today. So we're taught that the temple, the second temple, was destroyed because of baseless hatred, and it will be rebuilt because of unconditional love. What is baseless hatred? It's basically when someone else's existence gets in your way. So maybe the antagonism we feel toward each other, maybe it's not quite baseless. It's not so ego-based. It's more fear-based. But okay, let me just leave off that introduction. Just get straight to the story. So I've been super, super triggered. I've been super triggered because I want everybody to have their freedom to make their personal choices and so forth. But the truth is that there's a tremendous. I moved to Israel 8.5 years ago. I love the Holy Land. It is magnificent and magical and holy and beautiful, and the people are magnificent and holy and beautiful. But something weird is happening here. That's the truth. I'm sure it's part of the process, but it's been triggering me extremely deeply. People are actually, the green vaccine people are actually getting, now they're discussing fining people if they show up in any public place without a vaccine. I have a strong opposition to being controlled anyway. It's part of my personality. I can't even go through the scanner in the airport because it feels invasive of my rights. And anyway, this is Adar. I really have a point. I have a strong thing that I want to share. And then I'll share a little more after that also about the flip and side-by-side leadership. So I've been in a state the last couple weeks, really, missing my family tremendously. I haven't been back to America. 4 out of my 6 kids live in North America. All the married ones live there. The grandchildren that are that I barely know, that I just think it's all recent, pretty recent, all live there. And not only have I not been running to fly, but the airport here keeps getting shut down. Do I understand why? No, I do not. To me, it doesn't feel good that we can't leave a country. That is really not making me happy. So I have all kinds of thoughts about this. Most importantly, I've been in a state of extreme trigger. I actually reached out for some support around it because no matter what I believe to be true, being triggered into fear, into rage is not good. It's not good for me. It's not good for other people. It's not good for leadership. It's not good for anything. So I prayed about it a lot. So something happened that pushed me over the edge this morning when somebody sent me in the morning, I saw it when I woke up, a little thing about vibration and how vibration, corona has a low vibration and all these different things have high vibration. When we have a high vibration, low vibration can't exist in that space. And I'm like, yeah, something uplifting me. That's great. And I posted on a lot of groups, and I sent it to a small group of friends, really close friends. Like there are a few of us. 5 of us in this group were like sisters since way back. We were in Israel together in a little learning program in 1981. And, we've just been through everything, thick and thin and all kinds of things, a lot of thick and a lot of things since then. So I posted this vibration thing on the list, and one of the people, the only one who actually disagrees with me very much so in the, in the politics and the medicine, whatever, had a reaction that felt antagonistic to me. Whether it probably wasn't. It's just, I think it was just a misunderstanding, but somehow, I'm being really honest with you because I think it's important. This is what I moved to speak about. It triggered me because I was already at the edge of the cliff in terms of like, my son just had a baby. I don't know, they closed the borders. Nobody knows why or for how long in a supposedly free country that I chose to come to because, and missing my family so much. I haven't seen them in almost 2 years. You know, fears about everything everybody else, like the wanting free choice, wanting liberty, having a reaction, huge reaction to people misunderstanding, to people not getting my concerns, you know, just being all this stuff that I think many of us are going through. So this, when I attempt, you know, shared this vibration thing and got that reaction, it put me into the most like biggest trigger I've had for almost forever. Like it felt like such a betrayal. And I started thinking things like, I couldn't help myself. Like, I should leave this group, my best friends. I should leave this group. What do I have in common with this person? It's just history. I don't need this. And it was so blatantly snake energy that I just lifted up my hands and I'm like, help, help. This can't be okay. And so it calmed me down a little bit. And I went back on the list and I said, you know, I think it was a misunderstanding. I see your point of view. And she responded in such a beautiful way. She's like, I love you so much. I just want to be there to support you. I give you blessing, this, that, and the other. And the shift, the flip, and that's what I want to talk about. Adar is about a flip. It's about joy. It's about a new mazel, but it's about nahafochu, the transformation, the instantaneous transformation of what is completely dark and threatening to what is completely bright and connecting and uplifting and illuminating. So I literally was ready to cut this precious person out of my life because I had enough, not from her, I had enough from everything. And I just wasn't, you know, it just happened. And then because I was able to reach out, because she responded so warmly, it was like something opened inside of my awareness. And I realized that everything that's happening to us with each other, all of us, I mean, all of us citizens of the universe, that is happening to us with each other, that has been, it's really started several years ago, where this extreme polarity, it's just getting worse and worse and worse. In my opinion, it's being orchestrated, but that's beside the point. We have the opportunity to see our differences and to feel really truly threatened by each other. I know that people who are more afraid, people are either more afraid of the coronavirus or they're more afraid of totalitarian control. So I happen to be in the second category, but everybody's afraid of something. And so everybody feels threatened by somebody else, by the people that don't understand them. And we really don't understand each other. It's not like we have a little misunderstanding. It's like, you're threatening my universe. No, you're threatening my universe. You don't get it. No, you don't get it. So I realized that that's a level of reality, and it's a very real one. It's not a joke. It's very real. But underneath it, and what I experienced today, that moved me so much, I was crying, is that I suddenly understood what is meant when the Torah says unconditional love. It doesn't mean that you just be nice to somebody, even if you don't feel like it, or even if they don't deserve it. That's not what it means. It means actually connecting to that plane of reality where you authentically love someone just because you do, just because they are, just because, you know, in that deep level, you're in it together and you care. Now the caring gets covered up by the fear and the anger that goes with the fear. But underneath it, there's something else that's much more real. The trick is to access it. But what happened when this happened to me is, all of a sudden I'm thinking, this is the real fight. This is the real war. Not that other things don't matter. You know, it matters to me very much that we have choice. Health also matters very much. All these things matter. But underneath it all, the real war is on what level are we going to process our information? Are we going to be pitted against each other? Is that going to be okay with us? Are we going to be allow ourselves to be triggered on that extremely human, understandable level, and then more triggered and then more triggered till we try to squash each other in one way or another, override each other? That is not going to get us where we need to go. We are going to a new phase of human evolution, divine evolution. That's called redemption. A world literally where heaven and earth connect, where we can feel the soul in the body. That's what happened to me today. I didn't just feel my soul. I felt the other person's soul. Then I felt everybody's soul. Like, that's the level that can come out because that's the level of avos chinam, of unconditional love. That's the level where it's not about whether you agree with me or you don't agree with me. And I mean this on the deepest level. I hope it's coming through, because I don't mean it like, oh, it doesn't matter, we're all the same. No, we're really threatening to each other right now. We're all in danger from each other, and that's the fact. We are. Or we can answer the call and realize that beyond this is a divine opportunity. It's part of the metamorphosis from caterpillar to butterfly. And you have to go through that strata of what's called in Hebrew period, separation, conflict, darkness, in order to drop deeper in and see that there's something beyond that, even beyond that. It doesn't override this. It just takes it so much deeper. Like I believe, I don't know if that friend is listening or will listen, I believe that friend would fight for my rights, even if though she would do exactly the opposite of me in certain ways. And that's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. And that is the bandwidth of unconditional love, that all the forces that are broadcasting every instant into our world, attempting to pit us against each other through weaponized fear, that will wipe it out in an instant. So the first point that I want to really strongly make is that it's time for us to feel our own hearts, not just our reactivity. There are 2 levels to the heart, really 3. But there's the reactive heart, the one we live with on a daily basis, fear, blame, judgment, worry, self-criticism, criticism of others based on something's wrong, I'm helpless, and so forth. And then there's the transmitting heart, which comes from that deepest level, which is where the core of the heart is the place, the home of the deepest core of the soul. So I don't want to attempt to explain this on much less than 1 foot, but that deepest heart is a broadcaster, it's a co-creator, and it's broadcasting things like love and in strength and truth. It's not about being nice. That's not my point at all. But on this deepest level, we get to choose, we get to feel things more profoundly with more truth. And at that deepest level, we all are so magnificent and so full of everything that's holy, and that's everything that is co-creative. And that's the level that I believe. I think this is why I started to say in the beginning, I stopped because I don't want it to sound like a cliche, but I think I now understand much better since earlier today why it is that the 3rd temple will be rebuilt in a world of eternal goodness and no death, no fear, no suffering, no poverty, no sickness, no anything, no jealousy, no competition, meaning that we will have tapped into that place where truly we are connected already, and truly we share the common human experience, even if we're reacting to it, one of us like that and one of us like that, and then like that. So if we can take it deeper, and the whole mystical Torah is about this, it's about taking it deeper. And it's actually, I taught a class last night in my school for spiritual empowerment, which was all about this concept, which I've mentioned before, of davar v'hipucho, that everything that exists is made up of what it is and its opposite. And they are really one. And that if we don't feel both sides equally, the darkness, the light, the crying, the joy, the yearning, the having, the fear, the resolution of fear, the confidence, if we don't feel these things that show up as polarities in our world, we will never get to the deeper oneness. The oneness is not up here floating above our differences. No, that doesn't work. The oneness is in here. And as this text describes it, that when we go into the darkness, into the triggers, into the fear, into the anger, into the hatred that's generated because we're afraid for our survival, come on, give us a break. Immediately, what happens is profound light, infinite life. So I, again, probably can't really convey the depth of this in any way on 1 foot. If you want that depth, you could consider being part of my school. But in any case, it's so important to know that what we see that looks like it's the opposite of what we want to see is actually, in many cases, the road into it. But we must go in. We must open our hearts. We must feel what we feel and ask for help to understand it on a deeper level, to break through that bandwidth of fear and and then experience the presence of divine love and divine power. It's not about bowing our heads and just saying, okay, whatever happens. No, it's about waking up. It's about becoming fully alive. It's about making a connection to our source that will bring us infinite power and infinite light and infinite life, and to start to see the same in others. And that brings me to the concept of side-by-side leadership. So we are seeing, and this is prophecy. This is a little bit different from most of my Adar broadcasts, but I am wearing a very beautiful crown of special golden leaves, if you haven't noticed. I'd like you to notice that. Anyway, so we are seeing a breakdown in leadership. One of the symbols of, one of the signs or symptoms of this extreme polarity is mistrust in, like, I like this leader, you hate him. You like this leader, I think he's a snake, you know, whatever it might be. So that's one of the symptoms of the breakdown. But also, there is no, it's prophecy that true leadership will be removed from the world, the top-down hierarchical leadership. We see that in the Torah world, there's very little like global leadership, people who are, you know, universally respected, who can stand up, like the Rebbe did that, you know. There were a few others that did that in their way, but now there isn't, as far as I know, anybody who is like the shepherd, you know, guiding the human flock of sheep in that sense. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. We also see a mistrust, a very well-earned mistrust of leadership in our governments, all of our governments. And the Gemara, the Talmud actually says that it's the commentary on a Gemara, that the Talmud that describes the state of the world before the coming of Mashiach, of the Messiah, describes so much that we're experiencing now. And one of the things it says about leadership is that it will be, the commentary explains the phrase that the leaders of the generation will have faces like the faces of dogs, or will be like the faces of dogs. And it's explained to mean that just like a dog runs ahead of his master, you know, tries to pull, tries to lead the way, but really he's turning around to make sure he's being followed, you know. That's the leadership today. So it's not an accident. And why I'm saying this is because there's something else that's meant. When something is closed, something else is meant to open. When something, you know, the sun sets, the moon's meant to rise. When the moon sets, the sun is meant to rise. When this hierarchical top-down leadership starts to decay, it's because it's time for a new kind of leadership. And that is what I would call side-by-side leadership. I didn't make up the term, but I love it. That is a leadership by example. That is a leadership out of humanity, out of authenticity, out of identifying with the human struggle and with the human glory, and sharing that, you know, your struggles and your triumphs, and helping, you know, holding the door for the next person or the next group of people. And we all are capable of this, each in our own area, because none of us is masters of every area, but we all are masters of something. And so this is connected with the idea of opening our hearts to create the flip. This is the secret to the flip. The secret to the flip is let it take you deeper. I've been saying for months and months, I've been saying for months and months that we need to let things move us. So now I want to say we need to let things pull us in. So don't try to avoid your feelings, but don't believe that that's where it ends. They're here to take you beyond everything that polarizes us, everything that triggers us is here to do that, and then to invite us to pull us in even deeper. Like I don't think I've ever done this in my life before. I literally was standing in the hall, and I saw myself turning to, like, wanting to cut a person who's like a sister out of my life forever, because after all, we don't agree on anything anyway. What's the point? Which is not even true, but we don't agree on certain things. And I lifted my arms in the air, and I just said, help, help. This is not okay. And I can't handle it by myself. I can't. Because on that level, I'm only human. And then what happened was I was introduced to a level that's not only human. And that's the level that everything is meant to take us to right now. There is a part of each of us that is not only human. That's the truth. That is so much more than only human. And when our humanity is enough, you know, it's the nature, I was discussing this in my class yesterday, like posed the question, why do we need to have the pattern of challenge, pain in order to break through to a deeper level? Because clearly we have to break through to deeper levels. And we really were investigating that. And do we? And no, we don't have to, but we need to yearn. We need to be willing to move with things. We need to be willing to go to that deeper level. And then we don't have to be pushed there, because guess what? We are moving, rushing into redemption, but we don't get to go there to sleep. It doesn't look like we do. I wish we did, but we don't, from everything I can see. And so the things that fear is being generated in ways that are completely unprecedented, and again, in a way that they pit us against each other. Fear has the effect of putting us in what Joe Dispenza calls a high beta state, where your brain is like, "Ugh!" And what that does is cuts you off from everything about your deeper self, cuts you off from your insights, cuts you off from your intuition, cuts you off from your love. It puts you in reactive emotions. It shuts down the immune system. Fact. Shuts down consciousness. So we can try to suppress the fear, in which case we're suppressing most of ourselves and just trying to operate on top of it, which doesn't work for very long or very well. Or we can understand that the fear is also holy, and that it has a purpose, and that the purpose is to allow us to call out to our source, call out to God. And what makes you call out to God? Not to hate someone, because there's a part of you that is so full of love that you cannot stand what's happening. So call out, get pulled into that deeper state, and things flip. And when things flip, remember again, unconditional love is intrinsic in us. It's not something we perform. It's something that we are, but it's covered by fear. So when we ask for help with the fear, when we understand what it is we're dealing with, when we raise our vibration, when we deepen our consciousness, when we're not willing to let all the people that don't see life the way we do go, when we're willing to blame the forces of evil, let me say it, whether you consider that, those spiritual, or whether you consider that they're embedded in, in certain agents or agencies or whatever, that we're not willing to let them separate us. No, we're not. And to see that when people are reacting in a way that feels threatening, it's because they're scared. We're all traumatized, let's face it. This life, previous lives, we're all traumatized. We're created in a way that we feel temporal, vulnerable, small, and we do the best we can to try to create some stability for ourselves, some health, some love, some money, some shelter. And then when that gets threatened, if that gets threatened, it's like a threat to it. It's a threat to survival. And yet we're wired to want to survive with everything we have. And God did this. This is a whole structure that was created over the soul, over the inner heart, to hide it and at the same time trigger the opening of the deeper gates. So when those gates open, that we are flooded with our true self, unconditional love for who we really are, unconditional love for everyone else and who they really are, because we start to see the deeper truth and feel it in our own depth. And here's another little secret. It's a huge secret. It says in the Tanya, I don't know if that's the original source, but it says, Kamayim panim el panim, kein lev ha'adam el ha'adam. Just like when you look in the water, you show your face to the water, it reflects. So the same thing with the heart of one person to another. When one person feels something from their heart, the other person will respond with a similar feeling. Sometimes it takes a little while. So this is guaranteed. The only question is, who's going to broadcast stronger? Like if someone hates you when you love them and you keep shining love, is your love going to reflect back from them? Or is their hate going to end up reflecting back from you? That's a question of who's more committed and who's going to insist on co-creating and who's connecting. And I say that could be us. That could be us. I don't know if everybody's having the exact same struggles that I am, because I'm pretty sure that my resistance and reaction to control by alleged authorities comes from past life. I'm pretty sure it might be like past life Nazi memories or something. But whatever the case, it's very, very core for me. And I have to really work with it, pray, raise my vibration not to get triggered. I mean, not most of the time. Most of the time it's fine. But right now, I'm not fine. But the bottom line is, and why did this happen to me? Why did I see the darkness, the flip and the deep light and the side-by-side leadership, which is so much a core part of Adar? Because I'm here to share it with you. And this is the key to redemption. This is the key to our power. Life will drive us deeper. It will pull us deeper. Why? Because we have to be who we really are. It's about the awakening. It's about the tshuva. What is tshuva? Tshuva is, everybody talks about, the Torah talks about tshuva. Tshuva means return. Tashuv el havaya, return to God. The tshuva is usually translated as repentance. Like, I have to make up for what, God's mad. I've been bad. That's not the kind of tshuva. It's good to do that when necessary. It's kind of a bottom line foundational thing that you can't neglect. But that is not a real return. What's a real return? To the essence, the rock from which we are all hewn. The piece of gold that the menorah was made out of. The candelabra in the temple that was made of one piece of gold, solid piece of gold. And each branch had to be carved out of that gold. Even though all the branches are different, the base is one and it's gold. You're gold. I'm gold. Our base is solid. Our base is one. And it's magnificent. And everything that's happening right now is designed to pull us into that reality, into that knowing. And so that we can lead side by side, so that we can accomplish the napochu, the flip, so that we can find the unconditional love, not that we force on ourselves, not the being nice, not the one up here, but the one deep in here. It's already there. Like the sun is shining underneath the clouds, behind the clouds always. And again, the key to this is unconditional joy, unreasonable joy and celebration. So I'll end with that. Maybe tomorrow we'll get to the Kabbalah of the secret law of attraction, or how our thoughts create. That's really fun. But right now I just want to say, woohoo! Happy Adar! And do something to make yourself happy. And here's another, this so fits the theme. As the Rebbe said, do something to make yourself happy, because if you're not happy, you're not going to be vibrating from the inner core of your heart, right? So happiness breaks through all those barriers of fear. Now we know the secret of happiness. Happiness allows a free flow from the inner heart, where we are connected to what we really are and who we really are and who everyone else really is. And then he says, and then do something to make someone else happy. Make the people around you happy. If you're a parent, make your children happy. If you're a spouse, make your spouse happy. If you're a friend, make your friends happy, and be happy with others. Because the main happiness is when we are happy with others. All of it's pointing to the same place, you guys. It's the truth about who we are. It's the truth about who we are. And that's what all of this is for. Corona means crown. Crown. Keter is the core of the soul that is one with the core of God. And there we all are one already. So let this be the virus to crown the king, to crown ourselves, to crown one another, and to awaken to that deeper reality. And at that point, and it doesn't have to be all of us or completely, we just have to move in that direction. Remember, we're not creating, we're co-creating. We're aligning ourselves with divine forces and the divine vision and the power of the month of Adar and all of the events that are happening now. They're real, feel them, cry if you have to cry, and then go deeper. Because behind the tears, it's just teaching and learning about this last night, beneath the tears of being separate from God, of missing the world that should be, could be, that your soul longs for, that your soul came down here to co-create, those tears elicit reciprocal tears from God. Because God feels you crying and reaches out, his own heart to you. And now the connection is made. And once the connection is made, there's oneness. And what comes down from above is intense joy, which activates intense joy in the soul. The joy is right on the flip side of the sadness, of the anger, of the separation. We have to know it. All right. So wishing joy to everybody. Happy Adar to everybody. Oh my gosh. It's my birthday. It's my Hebrew birthday. It's my real birthday. I didn't even, I'm looking around for my glass of wine, which I don't have here. All right. So let me give you a blessing. It turned dark. I wasn't even paying attention. This looks festive, right? Except I can't tie it around this wonderful wig. Okay. So I want to bless everybody here. The Torah says that on a person's birthday, Mazalo Gover, his mazel, the spiritual source of his soul, dominates, meaning it comes all the way down and affects and transforms physical reality, circumstances, which is why a person on his or her birthday has the power to bless. because their blessings are going to, because their soul, their mazel is coming through their body. So the mazel has the power to impact reality, including other people's. So I want to bless everybody here. By the way, tonight is my birthday. Tomorrow night is the birthday of Moses. I'm a little bit older than Moses, just one day, but anyway, we share a month. The entire month of Adar is blessed because of Moses, Moshe Rabbeinu. Anyway, so I want to bless you that if you are suffering, you drop deeper in and find and feel the transformational joy, the joy that will heal your body, that will heal, and if you're not suffering, that will heal your relationships, that will heal your finances, that will heal your emotional traumas and triggers, that will heal your consciousness, that will open your heart to radiate love and joy and co-creative powers, that will open your consciousness to learn from every situation, to see continuously deeper and broader, to synthesize more and more and more truth, and to be able to be connected from your heart with everyone you care about in your world and in the world, so that you are able to transmit and to be heard and felt at all times, that you're able to hear and feel, that you be healthy and protected and safe and blessed, that nothing negative can affect you, can harm your body, that if you are in any kind of physical distress, that be immediately miraculously healed. That if you're looking for your true love, that your true love should also be looking for you and should find you immediately. And that you should recognize each other, that is possible. If you're looking for children, healthy children, you should have those. If you're looking for a new job, a new career, a new opportunity, a way of expressing your light and being rewarded for it, that should come to you immediately and in great abundance. That together, you should feel that everyone in the world at their inner deeper levels is on your side, is one with you, and that should become revealed. And that's what's mostly out of my mind right now. That all the darkness should turn to light. That you should experience miracles. That you should be able to ask for miracles. Hashem, please help me. Please make this turn out in revealed good. We're allowed to ask for revealed good over and over again till we get it. That you should be able to trust, that your trust should be tangibly rewarded and supported, that all the changes that you want to make inside and outside, you should feel that God is in it with you, has your back, really, really cares. That all the failures, traumas, disappointments of the past should be healed so that the past doesn't have to be projected on your future anymore ever. That you can be in the present moment, connect to your divine self and your divine power, and truly co-create in ways that absolutely transform your life for the good and your world for the good as well. And if there's anything that I didn't say, I'm sure there is. I'm asking Hashem, the creator of heaven and earth, the core, secret core of everything and the so much beyond everything. Hashem, God is in everything in the world. He is the essence of everything in the world, and he's way beyond everything in the world. That's what's Mulubash. That is what's enclosed in the very essence of our heart. The Rebbe says that the purpose, he quotes the prophet Micah, I've talked about this before, Micah, who talks about a time when we'll be surrounded by many nations, when and we won't be able to hope in human help. So the Rebbe explains that there will be a time that's actually it is the first stage of redemption. It's not prior to redemption. It is part of redemption, where the world will be filled with threat and with evil, not just from the outside, but from the inside. And that evil will be so, and that threat will be so strong, he specifically says evil actually, that we will not be able to uproot it from ourselves by ourselves. And that's why God says, I will uproot your sorcery, I will uproot your, God will help. And then the Rebbe asks, what is the point? Why is this Geula? Why is this Geula, you guys? Why is this Geula? Why is this redemption? So the point is to make a flip inside ourselves, because we are moving dimensions, we're moving paradigms, we're moving universes, and as part of the ultimate redemption, the point of this stage of redemption, which is increased darkness and evil, that we cannot count, we can't cure it by natural means. The whole point, the Rebbe says, is to make the final preparations for the true and complete redemption, when there will be no more evil, there will be no more sickness, there will be no more fear, there will be no more separation, there will be no more control, there will be no more death, There will be no more anything else negative, and the world will be filled with the knowledge of God like water covers the ocean bed, and all komadanim ka'afratiyu, all delicacies will be like dust, so infinitely abundant and so not even important, because we'll be so busy exploring our intense love and co-creative powers and joy and wisdom and consciousness. So what is the final preparation for that? Is to switch from a connection to the laws of nature, which is what creates fear in us, even though we know God is in the laws of nature, but that fear-based relationship, memaliko amin, to a much more expansive relationship where we become partners with God, where we become one, where the world is just the raw material for us and God to enact the divine will, to, reality being malleable. And the Rebbe says, when you have a partner, you don't have to worry about, when you have a partner that's got a lot, you don't have to worry about not having, because your partner's got your back and you've got his back, and it's not reward and punishment, it's co-creativity. That's where we're supposed to go right now. And the Rebbe specifically says that the only way to do this without getting triggered and crashed, I'm paraphrasing, is to do it unreasonably, not because it's logical, not because it makes sense. Not waiting to see, not measuring, is it going to work? We're caught in a paradigm. We're caught in a question. Do I have to protect myself? Do I have to guard myself? Do I have to fight against you because you're going to hurt me? Or should I just go above and work together with God to bring out the inner that is right at the other side of this? Davar v'hipucho, everything is what it is and its opposite. So that's our choice. That's our choice. And this is how triggers and co-creativity really are one and the same. They're just flipped. So let's make the flip together. And I hope this was uplifting, even though it was sort of serious. And happy birthday. That's funny. Didn't see my eyes. Happy birthday to everybody. Happy birthday of Moshe Rabbeinu tomorrow night. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to all of you. Happy birthday to the new world that we are co-creating now. And may all of our mazel, the spiritual sources of our souls and our collective source, our individual source, may those come all the way down into the world, shine and flip everything from darkness to light right now. See you.